Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. Billings city leaders embracing train service as a viable option for Montana, hoping to bring back passenger rail to the southern part, connecting the east to the west. And the city of Billings recently signing on as a municipal partner with the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. But is train practical for its cost? Some still say no. MTN's Jackie Coffin tells us about an effort to figure that out.
Billings is a train town. It gets its very name from the first president of the Northern Pacific Railroad, who also founded this town. And while there's no shortage of freight trains that still roll through here every day, it's been a while since people traveled through here by rail. 2,228 miles of track connects Chicago to Seattle and used to move travelers along on a passage called the North Coast Hiawatha.
From the Dakota border up Glendive on down through kind of the Yellowstone River on out to Missoula into the northwest.
While this train has been off the tracks for nearly 50 years, a new era of train travel might be coming back to southern Montana, part of a years-long push from the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority.
The amount of workforce we can move along here, the connectivity it brings, that's revitalizing all this area that's so important.
The proposed revival of the North Hiawatha would take the route south, passing through Glendive, Miles City, Billings, Bozeman, Butte, Missoula, and more.
20-plus member counties, our most recent being Treasure County in eastern Montana, and you have these small towns along the way that say we want to be a part of it, sometimes even when their counties aren't a part of it.
Phase 1 of the project, a large-scale study to be done in 2024.
Looks at developing these locations, where the rail is at. Obviously, you look at that current freight rail that runs on that route.
Helping them do this study is a boost of money, $500,000 to be exact, awarded to them recently from the Infrastructure Act.
To find out if this route makes sense for Montana, makes sense for the country.
Senator John Tester says he sees the potential.
The opportunities for business to be connected up with bigger cities like Chicago, Seattle, Spokane, be able to move people and product. I think that's very, very positive.
But says Montanans can't put the cart before the horse, especially as some county leaders are not on board.
Well, I don't think it's the most effective use of our money.
Yellowstone County Commissioner John Ostland has stood firmly against the project for years.
12 or 13 years ago, the study said it would cost $1 billion to rebuild the rail system to take passenger rail. Right now we have freight rail, and to spend $1 billion to make a few million seems like a crazy idea to me.
While Ostland doesn't expect his position to change, Billings city leaders pledged the city as a partner in the project earlier this month.
This is who we are, and the future of rail is bright.
In Billings, Jackie Coffin, MTN News.
As the fighting between Israel and Hamas continues, the U.S. reiterated American support for Israel, but officials say protecting Palestinians is a moral duty. Rami Ensencio has the story.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin received no public commitment from Israel on a shift to lower intensity strikes, but said U.S. backing is rock solid.
America's support for Israel's security is unshakable.
That support Israel wants, with rising pressure from its own citizens for a ceasefire with Hamas after Israel's military released these new photos of SOS signs where its troops mistakenly killed 3 hostages last Friday. Their families buried them in grief. Now, 3 more hostages have appeared alive in a new Hamas video. In the middle, 79-year-old Chaim Perry.
This negotiation will be the only solution.
Lior, his son, says every day is a death sentence.
Not only being old and without the medicine, and now also and of course the bombing.
Israel's bombing has now killed nearly 20,000, says Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry. This morning, strikes on the Jabalia refugee camp in the north and Rafah in the south killed at least 38.
You are in Gaza. What's the humanitarian situation there?
A nightmare.
Jason Lee is country director for Save the Children.
When I drive through Rafah, the shelters are overcrowded. They're putting up wooden structures. People have taken to open defecation. They're wondering why, that their lives matter less. We need the ceasefire.
And the UN Security Council resolution is expected to vote on a draft ceasefire resolution today. The last time they attempted this a couple weeks ago, Washington vetoed that. This time, the change may be in the draft text. changing it from a cessation of hostilities to a suspension of hostilities. That's in order to get U.S. support. Ramy Inocencio, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
More than 2 years after Missoula parents filed a lawsuit over their kids having to wear masks in school during the pandemic, the Montana Supreme Court ruled in favor of the schools. 11 parents with Missoula County Public Schools, Target Range, and Hellgate Elementary filed the lawsuit over mask mandates. They argue the mandate violated a right to privacy and personal dignity along with the state's constitution. However, justices found the schools had a legitimate interest in preventing infections among teachers, staff, and volunteers to ensure sufficient staffing levels are available for the schools to function properly. Montana has one of the highest rates of children dropped from Medicaid in the nation. Now the Biden administration is pushing Governor Greg Gianforte to use certain federal rules, making it easier to get families back on coverage. The Secretary of the Health and Human Services Department sent a letter to the governors of 9 states, including Gianforte. These states make up 60% of child cases dropped from Medicaid between March and September. It came after federal policy expired. A majority of Montana recipients lost coverage because they failed to provide requested paperwork.
Well, it's another mild day, and there's more on the way, especially through Friday. We'll continue to look at these above average temperatures, a lot of 20s and 30s in the morning and 40s and 50s later into the afternoon. But we are tracking that weather system we've been talking about the last few days that does bring some potential for snow, especially Saturday into Sunday. Is it enough for a white Christmas? We'll talk about it in a few minutes. But beyond that, it may not warm up as much, but travel conditions could be pretty good with continued dry weather. Details in a few minutes.
Now we have a special treat for you this evening as choir students at Broadwater Elementary School use their voices to get us in the holiday spirit. Here they are singing the sounds of the season.
Here comes the snow, it's falling down, it's falling gently upon the ground. Here comes the snow, it's falling down, it leaves a blanket upon the ground, ground, ground. Snow, 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 snow. Peacefully the flakes of white are falling down on us tonight. Staying by the fireside or bundle up and go outside. Down the hill upon the sled is having fun this winter day. Down the hill upon the sled is snuggle in a winter bed. Falling down, 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 down. Falling down, 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 down. Here comes the snow, it's falling down, it's falling gently upon the ground. Here comes the snow, it's falling down, it leaves a blanket upon the ground, ground, ground. Snow, 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 snow. Peacefully the flakes of white are falling down on us tonight. Staying by the fireside or bundle up and go outside. Down the hill upon the sled is having fun this winter day. Down the hill upon the sled is snuggle in a winter bed. Falling down, 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 down. Falling down, 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 down. Snow! Snow!
Christmas is often a time for surprises. This was a pretty cool one for some students in Lockwood this morning. The Lockwood Fire Department hosted a drawing contest for kindergarten, first and second grades. We'll take a look at these winners. They got to ride on the fire truck on their way to school. How about that for school drop-off? It is for sure a great way to end the semester. Still to come on the MTN 4:30 news here on Q2, starting teacher pay is once again in the spotlight. One district is getting creative to increase salaries. We have that story. But first, the same story on the weather front today. But could snow arrive for Christmas? Yeah, that's the question on all of our minds. Ed lets us know right after the break.